Yo, what's up, what's up, what's up? I know y'all probably sick of me. You probably heard too, I don't know. But this is talking about Chat GPT. Well, this is GPT-3 right here behind me on this screenshot. And I'm going to show you guys today and in the following episodes of what I do on how to become a developer. That's where I said a developer with Chat GPT-3. But you don't have to learn any sophisticated code. Just know how to speak English. Welcome to this video on how to program GPT-3 using English. GPT-3 is a revolutionary technology that uses natural language processing to understand human language and generate responses. In this video, we'll show you how to program GPT-3 using English and explore some of its many real-world applications. First, let's discuss what natural language processing is, or NLP for short. Natural language processing is a method by which an algorithm analyzes human text in order for GPT-3 to give a more natural or human-like response.
This is a new kind of life form, a new step in evolution.
Now let's jump into using GPT-3 using English. The people at OpenAI.com have provided access to GPT-3 through its chatbot dubbed Chat GPT, and it is accessed by going to their website and signing up with your name and email. The interface is quite simple to use. For you that haven't noticed already, this is an entirely different day. I've changed my shirt. Getting back to the subject. Before we jump in, let me say this is going to be a breeze for, say, like the likes of English teachers. Thank you guys. What I mean when I say program GPT-3 with English, I'm not talking about a high-level programming language like the ones I mentioned before, like Java or anything like that. This is a method by which the scientists and researchers at labs at OpenAI.com have allowed this particular program to interact with people using conversation in English. They call it fine-tuning. So to that extent, anybody that has a real good understanding and command of the English language will be able to fine-tune this thing properly and get the best results. Now, with that said, let's start moving forward. Welcome back. By now, you should have signed in to OpenAI's interface, and you should be looking at the user interface on your screen. Now, we're going to continue to talk about 3 ways you can use English to get good results from GPT-3. After those 3 ways I tell you about, I'm going to give you an example of each. Number 1. We have to be clear and specific with our prompts. GPT-3 works best when you provide it with clear and specific prompts. This means being as specific as possible with your language and avoiding vague or ambiguous terms. The more information that you give it, the better it can understand what you're asking for. Number 2, we have to use examples and context. Another way to get good results from it is to provide it with examples and context. This can help it understand the meaning behind your prompts and generate more accurate responses. For example, if you want to give GPT-3 or you want it to generate a summary of a news article, you have to provide it with the article's title, author, and a brief summary of the content. Number 3, you have to experiment a little with the different prompts and parameters that it accepts. Finally, don't be afraid to experiment with different prompts and parameters. It has a wide range of capabilities, and the more you use it, the better you'll become at getting the results you want. You have to try different prompts and parameters to see how it responds to you. Okay, I'm going to try to break this down to the nth degree because even I had problems understanding some of the vernacular that they use in conjunction with GPT-3 or Chat GPT. So when we talk about parameters, we mean the explicit instructions that we give in English in order for the NLP or natural language processor to be able to interpret exactly what we mean. And when we say prompt, we mean exactly what a cursor flashes. It's the same thing that you see within the box when you're texting someone. That little box where you start out, that is a prompt. It's a text prompt. So same thing going on here. It's just on a computer screen or on your phone, wherever you have it. Out of the 3 ways that I told you guys that I give you an example to each, we're going to start with the first. Let's say you're trying to get directions to a specific location using the language model powered by GPT-3. To ensure that you get the correct directions, it's going to be important that you're clear and specific with the prompt. For example, Instead of asking, can you give me directions to the museum, it's going to be better to ask, can you give me driving directions to the Metropolitan Museum of Art located at 1005th Avenue, New York, New York, 1028. Something like that. This provides GPT with a clear and specific information about what you're looking for, allowing it to generate accurate directions. So we're going to do that. You'll notice after hitting the return carriage, it's begun to give us a reply. And you'll also notice that it has made an assumption that we'll be leaving from Midtown Manhattan. I can almost hear some people saying, woohoo, great feature. That's what Google does, right? Siri? You're absolutely right. But the thing with Chat GPT is that we can provide different elements to see what it returns us. So let's do that now. Okay, so you guys will notice here where I'm just going to tell GPT-3 to repeat its last reply verbatim. But this time, I wanted to include a list of restaurants that are nearby because we might get hungry, right? So, after I hit the return carriage, it's going to give us a reply including the 3 restaurants. So just to reiterate, in the first parameters that we gave it, we simply asked it to give us directions to the museum in New York. It was a little bit more refined than that, but you get the point. So in these parameters, we said, hey, include for us some restaurants that are nearby because we might get hungry. So in this manner, this is what sort of differentiates for me the difference between GPT-3 and the likes of Google right now. It's that ability to be able to probe that question more with Chat GPT. However, I will say this, just to interject. There is a model similar to what Chat GPT is that's coming out with Google. It's supposed to be called Bard or something or another. But I don't know if it's going to be a separate, what they call API, application programming interface, or is it going to be something that they integrate into their current browser that we all know on our telephones or we still visit through their website. So be looking out for that too. It's called Bard, just to reiterate. We're going back to where we can be able to probe that question with GPT just to gather my thoughts here. We were embarking on a second way of showing you how to use English to program GPT. Let's recap that for a moment and get it back on the screen. For the sake of time, let's just summarize to where it reads, use examples in context. To really drive this home, this is what I did. I took this entire paragraph and fed it to GPT. Heck, GPT gave it to me in the first place. But before I did, I prepped it with some context. Let's go back to our prompt. Okay, so GPT is limited on what it can recall during the session. So I primed it by inputting this. In a previous conversation, GPT was helping me create a tutorial I'm producing for a YouTube video. I asked GPT to give me 3 ways people could program GPT using English. I fed it its own example, and then I asked for an example to the example. And here's what it gives me back. You guys maybe want to pause the screen and read through that and kind of familiarize yourself with it and just kind of try to wrap your mind around it. But if you've gotten this far, then you've chosen to move on to example number 3. Experiment with different prompts and parameters. Here's our prompt. Now let's give it some parameters. I'm going to start off by telling GPT to write me a grant proposal. But if I do just that, it's going to start writing a grant proposal. But I want this to be tailored to me. So I'm going to give it an additional parameter and tell it, but before GPT does, I want GPT to have an idea of what comprises a grant letter. After that, the necessary data that's going to go into this grant letter because it is tailored to me. We're going to hit the return carriage and we can see right away that it begins to give us a list that reflects it understood the second parameter and or instructions that we gave it, where we said we want to know that it understands what comprises a proposal letter. And the last parameter that we gave it and or instructions was to prompt us for data, and we see it does that at the end. And there you have it, a basic understanding of interacting with this powerful and new technology. I hope you found this video helpful. If you're looking at it on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you guys want more videos like this and other scenarios, just drop me a comment in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching.